This is an SM Media production. Hi folks, welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Scottish Women's Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's always a pleasure to be your host, and it's always a pleasure to be joined by my co-host Suzanne Mulvey.
Thanks very much for having me again, Scott.
It's always a pleasure. This is an all-star type of show. We've got two really good guests, one that's arrived on time, one that's due shortly, but we will kick off with introducing our first guest. It is a pleasure to welcome one of the biggest names in Scottish women's football. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome her to the show, Suzanne Winters.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me. And shock, it's Rhonda that's late. Can we just say that straight away? She's always late. She's always late.
Right, for the purposes of this show, we're going to call Suzanne Winters Granty because we've got two Suzannes and to save confusion. But it's, yeah, I mean, as Suzanne rightly says, we will be joined later on by Rhonda Jones. As an all-star show, Suzanne Mulvey, I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and I'm finally glad we're able to get it done.
Aye, no, definitely. It is an all-star cast. It's obviously I played alongside these two for club, not club with you, I don't think.
Did we play it?
I don't think.
Briefly.
No. I think every club that we've played at, it's not been at the same time. We both played with Celtic, but not at the same time. Same with Hibs as well. So never played alongside your club, but for country, under-19s and A squad, have loads of memories together. Definitely.
We sure did. Some fun memories, Maloney. We sure did.
Granty, obviously, like you've obviously had a really good career in the game, and you've kind of moved into the media kind of landscape of it. Like before we kind of talk about your career as a whole in the game, like now you're kind of looking at it from the other side where you're at games a lot. You're obviously doing a lot of the international stuff and things like that. Yep. How much a change have you saw in kind of even the past kind of 5-10 years for you stopped playing at the kind of the coverage that the women's games got and for even when you were playing?
Oh, it's huge. Like my boys say all the time, they see women playing, they come to the games with me now, and they say, Mum, can I see you in a game? And I'm like, we didn't, no one recorded. There was no visibility then when we played, really. So it certainly came a long, long way. Towards the end of our career, Maloney, I'll say, like BBC Alba started getting involved. So there was a few international games that were on BBC Alba, but club games, there certainly was no visibility in the game. So it's came a huge way, and obviously now I'm working for Sky Sports News commentating on the games. I'm like, what a platform these girls have got, and obviously such a a huge football and TV right, Sky Sports getting involved, BBC Alba, all these ones that have been from the start. It's just fantastic, and it's great for the girls now that get that visibility going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And we did have some Scottish Cup action over the weekend, and we do obviously have some SWPL action that's kicking off just as we're going to finish recording this. But Suzanne, obviously it seems to be there's Rangers and Partick Thistle in the cup final. Rangers are absolutely rolling it in terms of the league and things like that. What's been your kind of eye catcher over the past kind of few weeks, Suzanne Mulvey, in terms of the way that I would say Rangers obviously have kind of kicked on a level, I would say, in the past few weeks. Celtic have got a new manager in. Hibs have knocked Glasgow City out of the cup. There's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously massively, first of all, Partick Thistle reaching their first ever cup final. That's huge for them. And obviously I know Brian really well and a lot of the girls in the squad. And you could just see the reaction at the final whistle, how much it meant to all the girls and Brian as well. He's such a great character to have around, and you can see that the passion he has for when he's playing it, he just puts that right into the changing room with the girls. So it's fantastic for them. And people I've spoken about before, it's a cup final, anything can happen. Of course, Rangers are absolutely flying at the moment, taking 5, 6, 7 goals off so many different teams, but it is a cup final and anything can happen on the day. So I hope it's a really good game. It'll be exciting if it's a close game, and hopefully they can give a good account of themselves, because Partick Thistle are doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Granny, what do you think of like kind of Rangers and Celtic? Obviously, Celtic have obviously transitioned for Fran Alonso and the new manager coming in. Rangers, I just think, have been so impressive in terms of the depth they've got in forward areas. You saw that they won 10-0 at the weekend. there just seems to be the three big sides are obviously just at a different level, but you've got the likes of Partick Thistle coming in and getting to a cup final.
Yeah, like Melanie said, what an achievement for Partick Thistle. And it's a team, every time that I've done Sky Sports where they're involved, I've just been so impressed by them. Like Melanie said as well, like Brian's done a great job in there and what he's done with that team. And I was actually at their game there at the weekend against Queen's Park. I went to watch them play, and yeah, they did rest a lot of players, if I'm being honest, but that's also good. It just shows the depth in the squad that they've got. That they put out girls to give them more game time. Obviously they're being cautious, probably going into the cup final as well against Rangers. But yeah, they're a team that I just think you can't write them off. They work really hard together. They're compact, and like I said, they've also got a great spirit within their squad. And Brian's probably implemented that in his character throughout the team. And yeah, look, we know what Rangers are going to bring to the table in that game. Like you said, they're on such a good run at the moment. They've invested highly, signed a lot of world class players, and we can see that with the results that are happening within the league. But you've got Celtic as well. They've always been a team that have been up there and they're pushing. And obviously the new manager coming in, she's maybe going to just take a couple of games to get to know her squad, and then we'll see what happens if they can kick on from her coming in and start to get some good results.
Yeah, absolutely. And there will be an SWPL roundup dropping on Friday on the Patreon channel, so stay tuned for that. And there will be an SWF League One roundup going out before this. So, yep, stay tuned. We'll be up to date on all the latest coverage on the women's game. So, but let's get into why we're here. We've obviously got two brilliant players and three when Rhonda comes on that have had brilliant careers in the game. And Suzanne Mulvey, like, what was it about Suzanne Winters that really kind of caught your eye when she was breaking through? And obviously, we said off air, a fantastic career in the game. What was it for you that really stood out for Suzanne as a player?
I was kind of late starting the game, so when I kind of got into the under-19 squad, Suzanne was actually quite established because she was actually playing with under-19s. She was a captain, but she was also in every single A squad camp as well. Like I don't know what age you got into the A squad, but because she was such a player that everybody looked up to in the 19 squad, obviously the captain. But for me, it was just the character. A great laugh. No, I mean a great laugh off the pitch, but that kind of went onto the pitch. You were just like a free player. You just expressed yourself and it's just the way that you've always been. Like, know that it's kind of just like a free. You express yourself. You don't take yourself too seriously on the park as well. Like, if you miss a chance, you're on scoring another couple of goals like within minutes later. And that was for me. It was just that passion. Definitely, you just you'd go in the park. You'd always be there for all your teammates, and that was it for me. Just a great character to be around.
Thanks, Melanie. That was nice.
We are delighted to welcome onto the show Rhonda Jones. Rhonda, obviously a legendary player in the game. I won't say how many caps you've had because it will spoil a later part of the show, but it's a real pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this. We were talking obviously before you came on the show about Suzanne Winters' career as a player. Rhonda, like before, obviously, when you kind of broke into football as well, obviously you kind of came through it kind of Ayr United, and then obviously took the jump to America. What was that like for you, kind of making that leap to go to the States, where obviously women's football is so well known and so kind of a much better level at that time, especially. What was it like for you to kind of make that leap?
For me, the reason I actually went is I was at Ayr United, as you said. We had won all the cups, and I was voted National Team Player of the Year, and I was the League Player of the Year that year, and I'd felt that I had done everything that I could do in the country at that time. I think it went over when I was 20 or 21, and I always feel like I was made for the sunshine, to be honest. So I chose Florida, and when I went over there, football was a women's sport over there, so it was nothing like it was in this country. I was going to college, I was working part-time, I was trying to train down in Ayr, travelling, obviously making no money like paying to play. We were still paying for referees and, you know, at that time. And I just decided I wanted something a wee bit more. And that was the closest to playing professional that I could at the time. And I was able to also get my degree while I was there. So I was just marrying both my loves of graphic design and football at the time. And when I went over there, it was incredible. It was really genuinely like being a professional footballer. Your kit was washed for you and left there for you in the locker room. It was amazing. I was riding my bike to the beach and doing my homework and, you know, coming back. It was the life. I felt like a professional. I really did. The only sad thing was that I had to give up the national team for 4 years while I went out there. I was forced to make a decision. If you go out there, then you're out the national team. We're not flying you home. And at the time it was Vera, who was the coach, and she said, yeah, you've got a choice. I don't want others to follow you. So basically that was my options. And sadly, I didn't want to leave the national team, obviously, but I felt like I had no choice to better my life.
Granted, you kind of had a similar kind of situation in terms of you were at Hibs, and obviously that was a really successful Hibs side, and you kind of took the leap to go to Arsenal, and obviously Arsenal at that time are dominant in English football. What was that like for you, and was it better for you the fact that there was a couple of Scottish players already down there at the time?
Yeah, so there was Kim and Natalie were down, but they were in the kind of like academy at the time, so there was no one actually in the first teams because Julie was on maternity leave at that time, so that's probably why I got the shout. I was kind of the second favourite, because if Julie and Kelly Smith were fit, there's no way that they would have given me the phone call. So it was probably good timing for me that they were just desperate for a striker, I think, at that point. So, but yeah, like Rhonda, I think I'd achieved a lot in the game in Scotland, and you know, I'd have been stupid not to take that opportunity to go down to Arsenal and play for such a huge club. And like Rhonda, when she moved to the States, for me, when I went to Arsenal, it was such an eye-opener in terms of how professional it was from what it was in Scotland. So, yeah, it was a huge step for me, and it was a step that, yeah, I only played there for a wee while, but it was such a huge part of my career in terms of as well where I wanted the women's game to go up here, because it was just down the road for us, and I was like, why have we not got this here up in Scotland? So it certainly did help to push the game and make like probably players like me, Rhonda and Maloney, to kind of push the game up here to now where it's got to. So yeah, it was a huge help and a factor in that as well.
Suzanne Mulvey, we've got Rhonda on as well, and obviously you gave Suzanne Winters a very glowing reference. What would you say about Rhonda's career in the game and your kind of favourite memories of Rhonda?
Ruthless. Red cards, Molly, make sure you get the cards in.
Oh, geez, a break.
What I know, you're talking about cards, right? But it's kind of a bit down the lines. But one of my first memories with Rhonda, and I'd heard your name, and obviously you'd heard about players that had played with Scotland in the past, and obviously you'd went away to America. And my first memory of you was when we went on that 10-day training camp in France. That there's so many great memories for that trip. That was the first trip I think you came on that I was there. And my first memory actually having a conversation with you was we had finished a training session and we had, obviously I'm a striker, you're a defender, and we had a right tussle, you know, as we do, we're both physical players, like to get stuck in. And afterwards you've turned around to me and you went, do you know, that's what I really miss, that Scottish battle. You were like, don't know if you can even remember saying that, but you're like, that Scottish battle. And I was like, for me, that's what it's about. Like, I love coming up against players that want a good challenge, want to kind of push each other. So that was my first memory, and pretty much the same as Suzanne. You know, Rhonda wears her heart on her sleeve, and I think anybody that's played alongside her, I'll know that. She wears her heart on her sleeve. What you see is what you get. She'll give 100%. You know, I've been on the wrong side of it a few times. I remember a couple of knees in the backside before, and that's just a few, me too, Maloney. But you know, like, I love that. That's kind of like, all right, you do that, right, next time I'm going to come in just as hard. And that's what the game, it's maybe lacking a bit of that when you see some of the players rolling about. Not so much maybe in the women's game, but for me that's just the passion, the desire, the hunger, and the career as well. The fact that you went, you know, in the national setup, went away to America, and then you just came right back into the national setup, and you've just been obviously a player for that, you know, such a long period of time, and until you retired, that people knew as a starting player, somebody, a reliable player that kind of everybody looked up to, and you looked after the young ones. So for me, that's what it is, just passion. When I think of you, just a passionate player who loves the game.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Rhonda, would there be a favourite memory for you in terms of like at club level? Obviously, we'll get into internationals in a minute, because obviously the 3 years had kind of time together. But in terms of club level, would there be a specific moment that jumps out to you when you say, like, what's your best time of your career? Would there be one that kind of jumps off straight away?
Best time in my career? I loved my time in America. I absolutely loved every minute of that. I wish I could have just ended up staying there, to be honest with you. But in Scotland, I would definitely say probably my time at Hibs when I came back 2008, and playing with my mates, playing with my best friends. It was just a closeness there. Winning the Scottish Cup, that was something pretty special with Hibs. Just playing with your best pals and that camaraderie. That it was some of my favourite memories were at Hibs ladies.
Suzanne Winters, would you kind of go along with that as well? Because obviously Hibs was a really good time, and then obviously you kind of went on to win the cup with Celtic, and had won the cup with Glasgow City before that. But would Hibs be the kind of main kind of highlight of your career in terms of club level as well?
Arsenal was huge for me,
Yeah.
just the opportunity. But I flew down for a lot of training games, so I didn't have that closeness with the girls in the changing room. Obviously, they're English, I'm Scottish. I was coming down, playing 90 minutes and then flying back home, so I didn't have that connection with the players. But yeah, I agree with Rhonda. The squad that we had at Hibs, honestly, I'm actually laughing just talking about Hibs then, because honestly, the laughs that we had on and off the pitch as a team, and the memories is like we could be here all night talking about the things that we got up to off the park and the fun times. And for me, I think that's really important within a team. I've been at teams like Arsenal, and I didn't have that, so I didn't enjoy it as much in terms of that side of it. Obviously, the football was great, but I think it's so important to have that connection with your friends. And like Rhonda said, these girls now are my friends for life. Like, we've kept in touch through these whole years that we're all doing different things and moms, and so yeah, I think that's a huge thing in football as well. Like, now we became best friends for life, not only just as teammates.
Suzanne Mulvey, there seems to be like that kind of one thing, just kind of obviously watching the 3 years together and things like that. There seems to be a real kind of tight knit that you have all formed for that kind of era as well. Was that always kind of what you thought when you were playing at that time? Because obviously it's different to what it is now in terms of kind of coverage and, as I said, like paying to play and things like that. Is that kind of noticeable, that how well all those players for that kind of period got on?
I think now obviously a lot of the girls are professional, and it's kind of, they might be close because they're spending more time together. Can you imagine if we were together 6-7 days a week, like the mayhem that would have happened back then? But it's kind of like the players like Rhonda and like Suzanne who have paved the way. So many other players. You've got Julie Flayton, Stacey Cooks, Mandy Burns, Shelley Kerrs, Pauline Hamill. All of these kind of players, the hard work that they put in, and I've said it many times on the show, it's the hard work of all the players before that have got the game to where it is now. Although it's just been changes the past few years where the girls have been professional, it's been building up to that for many, many years with the progression and the performances, the progression and the commitment. Because it's been hard, Rhonda mentioned there, having to train, go to college, work part-time, everything, it was so many people gave up so much. And I think that was it, when you came together, there was that close bond. And, even the 3 years, we've all kind of went into different things now, but, we could easily pick up the phone, send a message. And I think that is, everybody's kind of there for each other. You've shared so many different memories. And it's life skills that you learn and transferable skills that you get from football that you can take into your career, or you can take into other things in life that I think is important for me. And I think that's kind of what I've took out of football, definitely.
Rhonda, is there one specific player that you've played with and played against that kind of comes to mind over your career, like even if it's at Scotland and even playing the likes of playing against American sides and things like that? Is there one player that you played with and played against that I would say, who's the best player you played with or played against, and they would come to mind straight away?
Julie Fleeting every single time. Yeah, I'm playing with her, playing against her. She's definitely up there. She's the best player I've played with and against. Debbie McWhinney as well, absolutely outstanding talent. But Julie's just, she's got to be in it. It's probably Granty's answer as well. If it's no, then there's going to be bother.
I was actually going to say Rhonda Jones.
No, you weren't.
But we'll say Julie then. We'll just go with Julie then.
Because we're in a chat group together, so we've been paid to say this.
She's told us to tell her. We've been told to say Julie's name, so we better, RJ.
Aye, no, there's no doubt. That's definitely my answer. Don't need to phone a friend, that's it.
Yeah, I agree with Rhonda. Julie, and I don't even think there's a striker in Scotland that compares to Julie. There's not a player that I don't think is ever going to come through that's going to be like Jules. Yeah, even as a person on the pitch and off it, she's just brilliant. Yeah, she's really good.
I think she could have been if she'd been getting goals, she'd have been the best goalie in Scotland and all. That's the kind of person, isn't she though? Like
she does, she's the best at.
Aye, I know, it's terrible, is it?
The biggest shame is that she's not around playing now, because can you imagine the publicity? You talk about Alessia Russo, the big contract that she's in Arsenal. Can you imagine?
She'd be minted.
It's a shame. Lightning.
Aye, she'd be absolutely minted. She must be gutted.
Yeah, it's a shame that people nowadays maybe don't know who she was and never saw her play, because that's tragic. Because I mean, there's nobody that's compared to her since.
We were talking about that before you came on, Rhonda, about the visibility of the game. I was like, my kids, there's no real videos of us playing, or can go, all right, there's my mum playing, because we didn't have anything like that. So could you imagine Julie and her girls seeing, I mean, there's probably more videos of Julie than anyone else, to be fair, when we all played. But yeah, I can't even explain how good a player she was. I used to be, when I first came into the squad at 16, I was just like, oh my word, like I can't play like Julie. So I then thought, oh my word, why am I here if that's what they're expecting as a striker? But yeah, she was some player. But the best player I've played against was the German. Do you remember her? Melanie Berringer, was it? Remember the right back, number 2? No, Melanie, you'll remember her a few times.
Yeah,
these were strikers.
But she was like, I think she played till she was quite like old. She was an older player. And honestly, every time I went up against her, I felt like I was hitting a brick wall. I was like, I'm going left, I'm going right, I'm doing it. I couldn't get by. I was like, just take me off. So she was really, really good for Germany's played against her. I could never ever get by her.
Also, Kat Linder.
Yeah, she was an amazing
playing
player.
Against that. Oh my God, she was fantastic, wasn't she? We've had some amount of talent in Scotland. I mean, I've played against players, like countries all over the world, but those players really just stick in my mind. That really tough to play.
I would love to see how we would all see if they had the team now.
Yeah,
and it would have been really interesting to see how far we would have got now, because we had a really good squad.
But we're not doing that, because I tried to play a game for Hutchie Vale not that long ago. And
I think we could start like an over.
No, mate.
Well, I'm not 40, so either you, Malone, so we can't go like over 40. We could do an over 35.
So am I not getting a game?
No, you're not getting a game.
Under 40s.
No, actually, like I did say to the ref, I says, "Sir, how long's left?" And he says, "It's only 20 minutes in." I'm like, "I've had enough."
I've not even played fives or any football for at least 4 or 5 years, apart from a couple of charity games where you just come on for literally 5-minute bursts and then I'm off. I couldn't even imagine playing now, like 90 minutes.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Suzanne Mulvey, what's your favourite kind of memory? Obviously, I know there's definitely one game you've all played together, because I've got it in the quiz. But what's your kind of favourite memories of kind of playing with each other? Like, there must be some good times you've all had together. I'll ask you all that kind of same question, but I'll ask Suzanne Mulvey first. What's the kind of one, when you're all together, what's the kind of one thing that jumps out?
I know what game you're probably talking about, Czech Republic 3-2 up at Dingwall. No?
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Aye, that game, because I scored the first goal and then they equalised, and then obviously Rhonda scored right at the end. And I think it's just when you speak to anybody like about that game. It's just the celebration, like Rhonda running away and everybody like for me, I think that was probably my favourite game for Scotland ever, just because it didn't even mean anything. It wasn't whenever I think if other results had went away, we maybe would have gotten to the playoffs, but we didn't even get to the playoffs. But I think that was Vera's very last game in charge as well. And he pointed out, literally my last conversation with Vera, she turned round and she went, "I'm sorry, I should have played you sooner."
She probably should have said, "I should have played you over the other Suzanne."
Oh, not at all.
Played you over me.
No, not at all. I sat on the bench for 2 years, so she obviously, I think at the end she played me and I started scoring a couple of goals. But no, just that on the pitch was definitely that game. But off the pitch, I think a lot, as we'll say, that 10-day training camp in France.
Hilarious.
We had, you know, competitions. We had to go and get local kids and have a football tournament, and we had, you know, people getting ridiculous sunburn and putting yogurt on them.
That was Caroline.
No, it was Caroline, that's right.
Yeah, she was my roommate. I had to put
Did someone not get injured diving? Or was that actually a...
Nikki Grant? Was it not Nikki Grant?
No. It was the one.
Was it not a staff or something?
The lifeguard.
Shoulder.
No, the lifeguard dived in the water and dislocated his shoulder, and then the doctor, the morning we were leaving, he woke up and thought he was having a heart attack because he had a sore arm, but he had dislocated his shoulder in his sleep.
That's right. I knew someone had dislocated their shoulder, but I couldn't remember if it was diving or something else.
I remember I had to go into Pauline Hamill's and Mandy Burns' room because there was rats. And Mandy Burns was hanging off the bedpost, terrified. Mandy Burns, I had to go and save Mandy Burns.
I know. Oh, Cyprus Cup was also a great one. Cyprus Cup.
Wow.
We used to do 10 days in Cyprus Cup all the time, and me and Rhonda were more excited about doing things off the pitch.
I know.
We were like, yes, training's finished, let's get back, and we just got up to some absolute nonsense.
Imagine we had actually hydrated, slept, and actually done all the things
we would have been good players on that.
Instead of doing stupid videos to entertain folk.
I know, we done that video where we we done an impression of every staff member.
Oh, can I get the staff?
Can I get the staff? And I played every character. Rhonda, usual film, and tells you what to do, throws me under the bus. And I remember playing it in the meeting going, Rhonda, like, this is either we're going to get put in a plane, never play for Scotland again, or they're going to laugh. Like, we didn't know which way it was going to go because we were slaughtering. Like, there was directors there. We were just...
He loved it. He asked for the DVD.
Andy loved it, didn't he?
Actually, Nick Dock texted me no long ago and says, can you send me the videos and the girls in the squad?
Can you just delete it?
No, that's getting made into a DVD.
But honestly, it totally made the trips though off the pitch, because training was hard and stuff, wasn't it, girls? It was quite intense. So when we had downtime, we just took full advantage, didn't we, and made memories. Like we still talk about it with the kids.
I know.
And they're like, really, Mum? I was like, yeah, we done silly things like that when we were away. So, and I'm like that. I remember now, Suzanne, you're a mum, because I would go back and do it. When we all go out, we're still the same, aren't we? Yeah. As if we're back with the squad. So
I'll tell the same stories. All this.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of it's what Stacey done, and how Julie Fleeting made you guys do.
Julie,
some stuff.
Certainly was. We call Julie the bully for a reason. Just leave that there. We'll just leave that there.
Brilliant. Right, are we ready for this quiz, the box office quiz that I've been promoting all show?
Right, okay.
Oh, right. God.
So how it's going to work, right? You both get 3 questions each about your own personal career in the game. And then the 4th question is a more than, so who's got more caps, this player or this player? Right. And in the event of a draw, which I'm expecting you to get 4 out of 4 here, we've got a really good tiebreaker. So I'm going to go with Rhonda Jones first.
Yes.
Right. First question, Rhonda. How many caps did you earn for Scotland?
117.
117 is the correct answer. So Rhonda has a point. Suzanne Mulvey, I'll go with next. Right. In 2009, you scored 4 goals in a Champions League game against, now the pronunciation could be horrendous here, Norse Dinamoeli.
Could have been.
What country were they from?
Lithuania.
No, the correct answer is Georgia.
I mean, that was a hard one compared to Rhonda's. How many caps?
It was hard.
Rhonda doesn't know how many caps.
Were we? I think we were in Lithuania. possibly.
Is that what it was? Right, okay.
Maybe.
How do
You're
you
not
even-
getting,
how do you
yeah, but
even
you're not getting a
remember that,
point for
Maloney?
that.
You're not getting
I was
a point for that.
celebrating. I was away celebrating my 4 goals. I wasn't wondering who the opposition was.
I honestly, I'll have no idea.
Suzanne Winters,
Too much, I'm worried.
the first question for you. The 2009 FA Women's Cup final against Sunderland. Kim Little scored the winner. Do you remember who scored the first goal for Arsenal that day?
Having a laugh. Wasn't me, I know that much. I should know this. Was it 2-1? Did it finish
Yes, it was
2-1?
2-1.
Yeah, I know the score.
Who scored the first
Was
goal?
it Katie Chapman?
It was Katie Chapman. Good
Yes!
answer.
Nice
So
one.
that's
Yes!
1-1 now. Rhonda, the 1999 Albania Cup. Do you remember that?
1999.
1999.
Showing your age, RJ.
You scored
I
a goal.
wasn't playing.
You scored a goal in the semi-final of that tournament. Do you remember who it was against?
Yes. It was against
She's Googling. You better not be
Korea.
Googling.
Korea,
What Korea?
South Korea.
No, it was North Korea.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
half a point I would give. In fact, no, I wouldn't.
I
Actually,
would
I think
give
it's a
Granny.
competition here.
What do we think? Half a point? No
Half a
point?
point. I'd give her half a point.
Right, I'll give you. You got Korea, so I'll give you half a point.
Yes.
Suzanne Mulvey, you played alongside Suzanne Winters and Rhonda Jones in a 2-1 victory over Italy in 2013. Rhonda scored the second goal that game. Do you remember who scored the first? I'll give you another clue. You come on for her.
My initial thought was Jane Ross, but I don't know. I don't know if that was before
No,
her time.
was it Hammy?
What's
I
your
think
answer? What's your answer?
Julie Ferguson. That's another one that's popped to mind. I don't know.
I'm gonna give you half a point because you said Jane Ross.
Was it Jane Ross?
It was Jane Ross, yeah.
You've just spoke about all the games that I've ever scored in, and that's it. That was it. 3 or 4 goals.
Suzanne Winters, you scored 11 goals for Motherwell in 2015. Do you remember who it was against?
An Edinburgh team. Can I get half a point for that?
You
They were
get a full
called,
point if you get
it was
the
like
full.
not a uni team or something, was it?
No,
They were definitely an Edinburgh team. That's really terrible. Did they begin with a B?
no.
No.
You
So-
stop asking for hints, man.
Well, I got half a. Do I get half a point for saying an Edinburgh team?
I'll give you half a point because you
No.
said Edinburgh. I'll be
That's really
fair.
disrespectful, isn't it? That's terrible. That.
But you can get a
What was
full
the
point
team's name?
if you can get a full point. I'll give you one more chance.
Can you give me the initial of the first?
No.
No.
Walk away, Granny.
Oh, come on, Rhonda. You know my academic level. It's not the greatest. So.
Right, I'll give you half a point. It was Edinburgh South.
Oh,
Can't believe you didn't know that.
no, that's really bad. Sorry, Edinburgh South.
No problem. Rhonda, what year were you inducted into the FAU Hall of Fame?
Were they scrambling?
And that was for academics as well, Suzanne.
Oh,
Right. You wouldn't know anything about that.
I definitely
Eh,
didn't.
I'm going to go, right, okay, so I was already home in Scotland at that point. So it's got to be 2010?
Oh, yeah, it's 2009.
No.
You're not getting half a point for that.
How? I was in Europe.
Suzanne Mulvey, what year did you win the SWPL 2 Player of the Year with Motherwell?
2018.
2018.
Oh, that was
That's
quick.
the correct answer. So
She's
that's
sitting, she's sitting in Wikipedia.
so
She's got the
everybody.
answers and a bit of paper behind the screen.
Everybody's got 1.5 points. Suzanne Winters, you can take the lead here. What American city did you score against the USA in 2013?
Right, we were
I
in
know this.
Ohio or
I know
Nashville.
this.
It was Ohio or Nashville, was it not? One of them.
Was they Ohio?
RJ,
I know this.
I
It
think I
wasn't.
know this.
is it Ohio?
No, it's Nashville.
Ah, that was you, RJ.
I said it wasn't Ohio.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't Nashville.
No.
It was
Couldn't remember which
it
one
was
we played
Nashville.
first.
It was
Nashville, that's
Nashville.
right.
We went to Jacksonville and then Nashville.
Remember we went into that pub, the
You
the
scored
pub with the
against-
country, the
Aye.
music. How good was that?
You scored against Hope Solo, mate.
I did. That was
That
my
was
100th
amazing.
cap. I should have.
That's
really
right,
remembered
yeah.
that.
And I'm pretty sure Abby Wombat got 200th cap in that
Aye,
game.
it
Is
was
that
her
right?
200.
She got a Rolex.
You switched shirt with her.
She got a Rolex,
Aye, she
yeah.
got a Rolex.
I watched that today,
Aye.
actually.
I gave
And
the
you got
top
her-
to you,
And you
Archie,
got her shirt.
for your charity, remember?
I know, and then you gave me that, and we raised money for my charity
Yeah.
through that.
Right, the fourth, right, this is all nicely poised actually. You're all on 1.5 points out of 3. So we've got a more than question. So I'll go to Rhonda first.
Okay.
Rhonda, who has more caps, Stacey Cook or Pauline McDonald?
Oof.
See if you get this wrong.
Stacey Cook.
Stacey Cook has 67. Pauline McDonald has 65. So you've got a
Ooh.
correct answer.
Well done.
Suzanne Mulvey, who has more caps, Julie Fleeton or Megan Snedden?
I think that's Megan.
Megan Snedden has 130. Julie Fleeton has 121. So you're right as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I would have said
Wow.
Jules. Well
Well
done,
done,
Megan.
Sneds.
Suzanne Winters for a 3-way tie, get into the tiebreaker.
Gonna lose, isn't I?
Who has more caps, Shelley Kerr or Leanne Crichton?
Oh. I'm gonna go Shelley Kerr.
Shelley Kerr is 59. Leanne Crichton is 72.
What the hell?
So
Wow.
it's a two. It's a
Lost
two.
me the quiz, Shelley.
It's a 2-way tie, and we're going to have obviously Suzanne Winters. I'll let you play as well for this. Obviously, I'll go round the panel and ask the
Win
question.
this.
Right, it's between
Go win
Rhonda,
this one.
Rhonda and
What's it
Suzanne
about?
for the question. How many goals have Caroline Weir, Erin Cuthbert, and Rachel Causey scored for Scotland combined?
Who was that?
Caroline. Yeah,
Carol-
you broke up there.
How many goals have Caroline Weir, Erin Cuthbert, and Rachel Causey scored for Scotland combined? And I'll give you 20 seconds to have a think, and then I'll come round and
Google
ask
it.
you
Put
for
your
the
hands in the
closest
air.
answer. Do not Google.
Is it double or treble figures?
Yeah.
It's double figures.
Right.
Closest wins.
Closest wins, right, okay.
Or is this between them two?
It's between them two, but I'll take an answer for you as well.
Right, okay.
Right, Rhonda, you go first. What's your answer?
I'm going to say 75.
So 75. Suzanne Mulvey, what's your answer?
I think it's a bit less than that, just because Erin's no long in. Caroline does score a few, but she's not a striker. Who was the third player?
Gorsey.
Rachel
She's not
Causey.
in a
She's a
fusion.
defender. How much did Rhonda say there?
75.
I see. If I say 74, then I know it's lower than that. I'm pretty sure it's lower than that. No, I would have said run about 54.
54. And Suzanne
I was
Winters,
going to say
what is your answer?
65.
65. The correct answer is 59. So Suzanne Mulvey wins the quiz. Caroline Weir has scored
They
17.
really need to sort themselves out.
Caroline
Rhonda,
Weir
he
has
sent
scored
her the
17.
answers, that's why. Before we came on, he told her the answers. Kidding on alone here.
Caroline Weir has scored 17. Rachel Causey has scored 20. And Erin Cuthbert has scored 22. I'm quite surprised with that, actually. I thought Erin Cuthbert would be the
I thought she would have had more, actually.
But we're going to
You don't
wrap
need
up the
pick a
show.
team up.
No, we don't. We're going to wrap up the show there, though, guys. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been an absolute pleasure to go back and reminisce. And first of all, to Suzanne Mulvey, thank you very much, as always, for being my co-host.
Yeah, same to you, Scott. Always a pleasure, and it's brilliant to have these girls on as well.
Brilliant. First of all, to Suzanne Winters, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thanks for having me. It's good to reminisce.
Thank you. And to Rhonda Jones, thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in, folks. Please follow us on social media, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.